Good afternoon, everybody. It's your boy, Pigskin Pete. Happy Friday to everybody. Before I get into the video today, I just want to let you guys know I'm planning on doing my call-in show, my live call-in show tomorrow night around 7 p.m. So that'll be Saturday night at 7 p.m. Looking forward to having some of you guys call in, especially some of these Miami people. Want to call in and talk to me about this Derek King transfer from Houston. So every single year when the schedules are released, I have to do a video like this to remind people that are so-called college football fans how scheduling works. That's right. Because a lot of them don't know, apparently, and they don't do their homework. What do they say? If you're a Clemson fan, and of course all these people are jealous of Clemson winning a lot in the past decade, so what do they say? Clemson doesn't play nobody. Right? They don't schedule nobody. You haven't been paying attention. The ACC this last season was complete and total crap. Was that Clemson's fault? No. So the strength of Clemson's schedule is really dependent on some of these teams in the ACC being good, or in some cases great. Obviously, the fall of Florida State over the past two seasons hurt Clemson's strength of schedule a lot. Louisville as well. When Lamar Jackson was there, they were perennial top 15, sometimes even top 10. In 2016, when Clemson played them, they were a top 5 team. NC State's another one. There was always a ranked team, sometimes as high as the top 15, top 10, that sort of fell off as well. But as far as the non-conference scheduling goes, this is where people don't know what they're talking about. With Clemson doesn't schedule nobody. Nobody schedules better out-of-conference foes than Clemson over the past 12 years since Dabo Swinney's been there. This is just some of the teams that Clemson scheduled in the Power 5 out-of-conference since Dabo Swinney's been head coach there. You ready? Alabama. Auburn 5 times. Georgia twice. Texas A&M twice. And, of course, Notre Dame, which we play on a rotating thing because of the way that they're affiliated with the ACC. That's a whole another story. But Clemson plays 10 Power 5 teams a year. 10. Most schools out there, including every team in the SEC, most of the teams in the Big Ten, play 9 Power 5 schools a year, not 10. And but somehow Clemson doesn't schedule nobody. We're scheduled in the future here to play Georgia with another home-and-home series. LSU's coming up sometime in the next 10 years, I think, as well, with a home-and-home series with them. Dan Radakovich, the athletic director at Clemson, has been very vocal over the past several years about we're looking to schedule big boys out of conference. We'll play anybody in a home-and-home series anytime that you want to do it. You remember earlier in this season when Florida and Dan Mullen were running around saying nobody wants to schedule us with a home-and-home series? Dan Radakovich tweeted right at him, "We'll play you. Let's call me. Give me a call. We'll set it up." Guess who didn't call? That's right. Florida didn't want nothing to do with Clemson in a home-and-home series. They can run their mouth all they want, but Dan Radakovich puts his money where his mouth is. He'll schedule anybody in the country that is willing to play them. People think they have this fantasy in their head that Clemson can just go out there and choose who they're going to play every year out of conference. They think we can just go to Nick Saban and say, "Hey, we want to play you in 2023." And then all of a sudden it just happens. Both teams have to agree. And there's a lot of teams out there that don't want to play Clemson in the regular season. And I don't blame them. But go back to 2016, for instance. This is a good measuring stick. 2016, 3 seasons ago, since we just ended 2019 season. Clemson still played in the ACC in 2016. They still scheduled the same that they do out of conference. And they had 4 top 15 wins in the month of September. Why? Because Auburn was a top 10 team. Started out the season with them. Louisville was a top 5 team. Florida State was a top 15 team in 2016 when we played them. NC State was a top 15 team in 2016 when we played them. Going into the playoffs that year, Clemson came out of the regular season and after conference championship week with the number 1 strength of schedule and record in the country. They didn't do anything. They don't do anything different now than what they did in 2016. The difference was the teams that were just already automatically on their schedule that year were just better than they are now. Completely out of Clemson's control. Although Clemson probably did have a hand in destroying Florida State. I mean, that wasn't all Clemson. That was an internal thing with Jimbo Fisher and the commitment to the athletic department monetarily from the boosters and all that. And so, Jim, he left and went to A&M, where they have endless supply of money and are dedicated to pouring money into their football program. But Clemson beating him 3 years in a row, in a conference that for the majority of the time he was there, he completely controlled the same way that Clemson's controlling the conference now. That had something to do with it. But anyway, so look, save your BS comments to me about how Clemson doesn't schedule nobody, and because I'll keep track of this. I'll keep track of you, whoever your team is. I want to see who you're scheduling out of conference, and I guarantee you it doesn't stack up to what Clemson does out of conference scheduling. Most of you don't. So we'll leave it up to these other teams in the ACC to get better. We'll leave it up to South Carolina to get better. These South Carolina fans coming on all over social media constantly bashing Clemson's schedule when they're on it. They're part of the reason. They're part of the problem. Get better. South Carolina, you're the biggest cupcake on that schedule. This was your yearly update on how scheduling works. I'm glad I could educate you folks today. See you tomorrow night. Have a great day. Pigskin Pete's checking out.